Thank you very much, Deborah.
We're thrilled to have you, and I want to start by saying when we had this conversation, we were thinking of a very innovative name for this competitiveness conversation that's going to include Northern Indiana as well as part of Illinois, with you, Paul Kearns from Argonne, and Tim Colleen from the University of Illinois as hosts, but we're going to be in Purdue. And you came up with a brilliant idea of the title, and everybody's jealous of it now. So you have to tell us what it is.
Well, it's a very nerdy title. First of all, thank you so much for the invitation, and great to be here at the NCF and to see many of you here. Well, the nerdy title is Chips, Qubits, and Molecules. Now, I used to be an engineer and know some of those words, but now I just go to watch basketball games. So I don't know exactly what the experts will be saying, but I think it will be something related to silicon. By the way, Marlene and I, we were at G7 together with the US, Japan, the Semiconductor Alliance signing back in May. Great to see you again. And we're going to talk a little bit about quantum science and engineering. And we're going to talk quite a bit about molecules, especially in biopharmaceutical manufacturing. And it is a partnership between, yes, the great state of Indiana and the great state of Illinois. It might happen around the same time that Purdue and Illinois play football. So they're one of the few teams who are able to beat this season.
And I also heard that Taylor Swift's coming to Indianapolis.
Oh, yes. We're going to follow Taylor Swift. Wherever she goes, we go.
And the tickets are all sold out, but I think you might have a chance of getting it.
Yeah, it is all sold out. Yeah, I couldn't get my daughter the tickets. But yes, in Indianapolis as well. Speaking of competitiveness, where we can compete on Taylor Swift tickets, maybe, there'll be a lottery draw or something, only one winner out of 1,000.
So let's just talk a little bit about Purdue and Indiana. Of course, the state is very, very competitive, great manufacturing enterprises. We honored last night Senator Todd Young for his leadership in the Chips Plus Science. But you really have a very advanced strategy for building on all the accomplishments of the Boilermakers and going to the next level. Share a little bit about your strategy and what's going on in Purdue under your new leadership.
Yeah, well, I started with Mitch Daniels for the entire Daniels decade. And you are right, Senator Todd Young has been an outstanding leader, especially with the bipartisan Chips and Science Act. And I started working with him when I was serving the State Department back for a one-year rotation in 2020. Yes, we were able to, as a state and a university, compete in 3 out of the 3 national hubs this season. One is the hydrogen hub out of DOE. We're one of the 7 winners. Another is the microelectronic commons hub out of DOD. It is the Chips and Science money. We are one of the 8 winners in the country. And the third is the regional tech hub. Speaking of regional excellence in talent and innovation, one of the regional tech hubs designation is in biopharmaceutical manufacturing, Indianapolis, where Purdue is opening our first urban comprehensive campus. So winning 3 out of 3, I asked, what's the probability of that? So it turns out it's about 10% each one. And if you assume they're independent events, I was told that it's about 0.1%. And we are the only university, central to Northwest Indiana, the only region in the United States to have won all 3 out of 3.
Congratulations. We were talking in the other conversations today, this afternoon, about the rationale and purpose of these competitiveness conversations across the country. And of course, we want to understand what the great strengths and assets are, where we are right now. But very importantly, what are still some of the gaps, the things that need to be done to move into this new age of innovation? In your case, chips, qubits, and molecules, but many other things as well. Could you share with us a little bit of your thoughts? And again, we'd be involving Argonne and University of Illinois. What are some of the challenges still in the area that need to be addressed?
Yes. So channeling our Governor Eric Holcomb a little bit, you have to think about some of the mega trends happening. One is manufacturing jobs reshoring back to our country. And the middle of the country has a lot to gain from that and contributions to make towards that. But along with great neighbors such as Illinois and other Midwest states, we have to make sure that we can create jobs and talent, workforce together. Because without jobs, the workforce won't stay. Nobody will stay to be unemployed. But without the workforce, jobs won't come. So the state of Indiana has been able to attract a lot of capital from elsewhere to the state of Indiana to the tune of $50 billion last 24 months.
Wow.
Purdue has been participating in that. On a per capita basis, we have the #1 manufacturing capability in the United States. Now, you notice that in this title here for next September's event at Purdue, the word bytes did not show up. Not because AI is not important, but because we have to not leave behind the atoms. Whether AI is reflected in the execution on some silicon chips, or AI's bytes work with the atoms of what we make, what we move, and what we grow, right? As manufacturing, Industry 4.0, as modern air mobility and transportation revolution, and as digital agriculture and forestry. How can we weave the bytes of AI into these physical implementations, which also will then translate into many new types of jobs in those industries?
And I'm pleased you mentioned agriculture because you are, of course, in a part of the country that has tremendous assets in our agricultural production and leadership in this country. You know, we're still the largest food producer and exporter in the world. And one of our council chairs for many, many years, Sam Allen, is a Boilermaker. And so, you know, the application of these new capabilities and tools to agriculture and is very much at the forefront as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We have very interesting projects using AI and robotics to count every tree in America. And there are many good reasons why I want to do that. There's also food security. I always say that Purdue University is all about national security, economic security, job security, and food security. There are still people going hungry around the world for sure, and even within our own country as well. So there's a lot to be done by combining digitization with agriculture. Now, one thing that I also want to highlight is on this workforce equation, which is going to be a key theme in this chips and qubits and molecules, is that you need the talents. Now, Purdue today, among the top 50 American universities, we have the largest undergraduate STEM enrollment, #1. We have both the Final Four basketball team and, as of today, tomorrow we're going to go to #1. So, and also a top 4 engineering college, right? And our engineering college educates as many students as the other 3 in the top 4, MIT, Stanford, Berkeley combined. So that excellence at scale is what drives workforce. You need the scale in order to create new jobs and sustain the jobs.
And you're also very much involved in the aerospace cluster. You have a big presence of some of the major players, Boeing and others. So that's
well, you know, Mitch started something called a Discovery Park District, an aerospace cluster, a big part of that, including foreign direct investment from like-minded countries, such as Sweden's Saab is building the fuselage for the T-7A trainer jet for U.S. Air Force. We have Rolls-Royce running hypersonic and hybrid engine production on Purdue campus. And the students, she can wake up in the morning, turn right, go to take a class, and turn left, go intern, learning while working at one of these many companies now right on Purdue campus. By the way, great news is next April, we're bringing back commercial passenger airline service to Purdue University Airport. And we're naming the new terminal under construction now the Amelia Earhart Terminal, because Amelia Earhart was our flight instructor at our university airport in the 30s.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's exciting. That's very
You might be able to fly into Purdue University Airport, which is 5 minutes away from the events.
So your undergraduate population, I have to tell you the one story. I gave a talk a few years ago to anniversary of your engineering school or one of the schools. And I was talking about innovation, and I made the comment that innovation is not just science and technology, it cuts across everything. And I said, Herodotus, was the great innovator who innovated the whole concept of history and looking at cultures. And there were about, 400 or 500 people in the room, and it was like, nobody knew what I was saying. So I said, well, how many of you have read Herodotus' history? Not a hand went up.
I haven't.
And then I said, well, how many of you know who Herodotus is? And not a hand went up. So the reason I'm sharing that is to ask you, with your great STEM work and everything, how are you addressing the imperative to integrate the arts, the sciences, the humanities for the knowledge and understanding we need in our democracy going forward?
Well, look, university education is less about what we cover, but how much we uncover together about the world around us and about ourselves. And therefore, as a comprehensive university, we cannot let go all of those important aspects. Part of that is when we wrote out the AI majors, there's one in computer science, there's one in philosophy.
Great, that's fantastic.
We're gonna welcome a very famous performance artist to our campus, not Taylor Swift, somebody else on the classical music side, and we are going to unveil 73 Degas sculptures on our campus this come fall as well. So there are many important aspects that a university serves in a democratic society. And I see some of my colleagues, other university presidents right here, and I guess for as long as we're still in the jobs we're holding right now, it is part of our responsibility to think on behalf of all the academic disciplines. Now, one particular aspect I hope to welcome all of you to Purdue University come fall is to also engage with our students. And our students come from a wide variety of backgrounds. Most of the students that come through Purdue will say the difference, the uplifting force of public education, Purdue is a public land-grant institution, is so powerful that they transform the lives of these individuals, but also their future families. And now it's upon us to make sure they have the highest level of education at the highest proven value. And that's why Purdue just last Friday announced yet another year of tuition freeze, 13 years in a row.
That's fantastic. Well, Professor Mung, we're just really honored that I know you had a very tight schedule today, and for you to come by, we're very appreciative. We're honored you're a commissioner, excited about coming to Purdue. We know there'll be some great entertainment. We won't let Daniel Dearmeyer up you in Nashville.
Well, I can sing and dance too. No, don't worry, I'm not going to do that. Do not worry about that part.
But thank you and for your leadership and your vision and charting the next chapter for the Boilermakers.
Well, let's create some jobs and some talents together. Thank you very much.
Thank
Great
you.
to be here.